Hello, Flat Earth researchers, debaters and debunkers. It's April the 1st, 2025, and I woke up this morning realising that I've been a fool all these years.
This is Pocket Word, Nick, and he is today's fool. Let's start.
Now, the thing is, when you do start to question the official narrative and scientific consensus, you end up getting mixed answers, which are often just compartmentalized scientific explanations, as they say. But when you try to put some of those explanations side by side and compare them, they often contradict each other. And they often contradict the reality that we see, experience and measure.
A problem for people like Nick, flat earthers, is that they don't understand the answers they get. They can't grasp the science. They can't understand the most simple answers.
A sniper has to fire a gun. It is said that that sniper has to compensate for the earth spinning beneath the bullet that would have been fired in a straight line and will continue to go in a straight line, but will not meet its target if the earth is spinning beneath it. Now, okay, in theory, that would maybe fit with the Foucault's pendulum, but in practice, in reality, there are no snipers and there are no ballistics experts that ever have to actually compensate for curvature. They just fire directly at their target. Of course, there are various factors involved, but none of those factors are anything to do with the earth curving or indeed spinning beneath the ballistic missile or the bullet that is traveling in a straight line and will meet its target if it is aimed at that target. So
the ordinary soldier has a rifle that has some precision up to roughly 500 meters. If you look at the table here, Coriolis is not a thing on those distances. But when the military train snipers, they learn how to calculate for Coriolis. And if you look, for instance, 2,000 meters and a latitude of 60, deflection is 41 centimeters. But if you look at 500 meters, it's 1.88 centimeters. This is one of the best artillery systems in the world. This is the Swedish Archer. And of course, they calculate with Coriolis.
we have an explanation that fits with that first fundamental one of the Foucault's pendulum, but it doesn't really actually happen in reality. And of course, when we have a helicopter in the air or a hot air balloon or even an aircraft, there is no compensation for any spin or curvature when flying. A helicopter will hover and the earth will not spin beneath it.
In reality, Coriolis isn't a powerful force. If you look at this table once again, it's about one of the more common sniper ammunitions in NATO. The speed of the bullet is roughly 900 meters per second, so that is about 2.5 times the speed of sound. So he compares this with the airplane and the hovering helicopter. In this table you see the deflections when something is moving 2.5 times the speed of sound and different distances. So if you're shooting with that kind of an ammunition in Texas at 1,000 meters, the deflection is 4.87 centimeters. So according to Nick, this wouldn't be possible to do on a globe. If you look closely at the helicopter, when it's hovering, it's constantly moving slightly. It's many other forces that are much stronger that affects the helicopter when it's hovering. Wind, the movement in the wind, it produces itself. It's close to being in a hurricane. The pilots have to compensate for those forces constantly. I have spent a lot of time in helicopters and I have seen the pilots constantly working with this. The Coriolis effect is too small to affect them. The same goes for airplanes.
And a hot air balloon will get carried along by the winds, not with any relation to whether the Earth is moving underneath it. So for all intents and purposes, everything we do on or above the Earth is done as if the Earth is level and stationary.
And Phuket is, as usual, totally wrong. If you look at the balloons, how big is the effect from the Coriolis effect on those balloons, do you think, Nick?
And I woke up this morning realizing that I've been a fool all these years.
Yes, you have been a fool, and you are a big fool.
So when reality demonstrates to us that there is no Coriolis effect present, then we get another compartmentalized explanation that does contradict the original Foucault's pendulum explanation that the Earth spins beneath the pendulum, because then we're told that, oh, the atmosphere is stuck to the globe Earth and spins with it, which is basically to say that it's the same as being stationary.
And Nick didn't read this part. Atmosphere is moving practically at the same speed as Earth's surface. The rotation of Earth on its axis deflects the atmosphere toward the right in the northern hemisphere and toward the left in the southern hemisphere, resulting in a curved path.
And I woke up this morning realizing that I've been a fool all these years.
That's correct, Nick.
And there is no Coriolis effect all of a sudden. And I've even heard it say that ballistics and aircraft are treated differently, but the fact that an aircraft has its own thrust and can go in any direction it likes means that we can and should be able to go with or against the spin that is assumed to be happening, whether the atmosphere is or isn't stuck to the Earth. But we know that that doesn't happen to the air. As we know with balloons that get carried along with the winds going in all directions, nothing is sticking to the Earth in that respect, and nothing is rotating with an assumed rotating Earth either. The Earth is stationary and the winds travel across the Earth in all directions, regardless of any assumptions that the Earth is spinning. All of these explanations start to conflict with each other and with reality.
They don't conflict with each other. The problem is that Nick don't understand the explanations, and therefore he don't accept them.
And I woke up this morning realizing that I've been a fool all these years. And we know, for example, that aircraft go in a straight line from their departure point to a waypoint or their destination in a straight line. They never ever have to compensate for the Earth spinning beneath them. Pilots treat the Earth as a level stationary plane. It doesn't matter whether you're going with or against the alleged spin, east or west. Flight times are no different in that respect. They may be different because of the winds that you face, tailwinds or headwinds, but at no point or time is a spinning Earth factored into flight plans.
If there were no winds, the airplane would notice a slight effect of the Coriolis, but Coriolis is so weak
And the same goes whether you're traveling in a northerly or southerly direction. You don't aim for a destination that is going to come around to you or go away from you, depending on which direction you're going. You more or less go straight to that destination. So it really doesn't happen for pilots. Now, before we move on, let's just briefly clarify what the Coriolis effect is and how it can be demonstrated. It's often referred to as the Coriolis force, but really that's just a description of what we see happening depending on our point of view. And it's usually demonstrated by having two or more people on a rotating platform, just like a roundabout in a kid's playground. So you'll have two people opposite each other on this rotating platform, but if that platform is stationary, they can easily throw a ball back and forth to each other in a straight line. But once the platform is rotating and one person throws the ball to another opposite them, they will not be able to catch the ball if it's thrown in a straight line, because the person opposite will have rotated past the point that the ball has gone, or the direction that the ball was going. Now, with a little bit of practice, you can end up throwing the ball in a way that it does get caught by the person opposite, but that means not quite throwing it in a straight line, or throwing it in a way that will allow that person to catch it as they come around, rather than missing it because the ball was thrown in a straight line.
Thank you, Nick, for that one. Let's have a closer look on this. Let's start measuring the time one lap takes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So roughly 5 seconds. 60 seconds per minute, 60 minutes in an hour, and 24 hours in a day. So it's 86,400 seconds in a day. And then we divide with 5 and we have the result. This rotation was 17,280 times faster than Earth rotation.
And I woke up this morning realizing that I've been a fool all these years. So, okay, this is something that can be demonstrated as happening in the real world. We can see the Coriolis effect, or the Coriolis force in action. But if we then look at reality and we look at an aircraft going through the sky, either away from us or towards us or anything else like that, do we see that apparent Coriolis force or Coriolis effect? Do we see the object appearing to curve because we are on a rotating surface while that ballistic or the aircraft is going in a straight line? And I woke up this morning realizing that I've been a fool all these years.
Piquet World is a typical flat earther. He is a fool, and when he don't understand things, he makes up his own fairy tales. Typical flat earth. Okay, that was all I had for you today. Hope you liked your video. We'll be back soon. Bye.